For the second part of this series, we will have a look at the influence of technology on the organization and services they deliver, as well as implications for service design. Again, a reminder, have a look at Chapter 2 of the textbook you see on screen to get more information. The influence of technology on service delivery from a company's perspective, we need to have a look at technological developments in terms of the services triangle. The triangle will always be about the organization on top, then the consumers and employees, and what happens between these three components. Just as a basic introduction, the organization on top will communicate externally with customers, whether it's on the website or social media, whatever the case may be, to consumers specifically what they are selling in terms of the service or the service they provide. On the other hand, on the left-hand side of the triangle, we have internal marketing in terms of training the employees and empowering them to be able to execute those services that they promise to consumers. Then from the bottom line, you can see employees have interactive marketing where they consider the promises made to consumers by the organization, taking consideration the training they received or manuals or guidelines, and then also ensure they offer their service to customers, and of course employees will have the interactions with customers. With this in mind, technological developments have a significant impact on how this triangle operates and how services are delivered and designed. Let's have a look at an example that everyone should be familiar with in terms of the pandemic. Zoom. Where did Zoom come from? Well, Zoom has actually been around for a little while, but really emphasized, or got emphasized rather, during the pandemic, where someone or organizations or educational institutions needed a solution to continue providing quality education. I'm only going to focus on the context of providing education, while we all know that whatever industry you were in, if you had to have meetings and you were experiencing a hard lockdown like many countries globally had, then there needed to be a solution to facilitate these meeting and strategic planning sessions. Yes, there are other examples like Microsoft Teams or whatever the case may be. For reference, we will have a look at Zoom because in my institution, this is the platform or software solution tool that we used to provide education to our students. Now, what happens with reference to any education institution? So let's say the organization is represented by a university or a higher education institution, college, doesn't matter what the context is. They needed to think of alternative solutions to still continue providing their programs to the customers while not being able to deliver this face-to-face. In other words, what had to happen, internal marketing had to happen in terms of strategic planning sessions and training for the employees, which are then support staff, academics, whatever the case may be, planning, the safety, all business functions were involved, having training, getting strategic planning sessions to be able to produce and still offer quality education. What happened? Everything was then in place, protocols were developed and then established, and then this was broadcasted to the customers. In this case, it would be the students. Now, what happens with technology, especially in South Africa, where we are not always as advanced as other nations, or it is also specific to the area where you reside. We have a major distribution issue in terms of rural versus urban, and many of our students are from more rural areas with lack of internet access and access to the technology required to receive this service. And while many of them might have smartphones with internet access, where they stay, there might not be electricity, a current issue we also experience, and during the pandemic as well, and also internet and connectivity issues. So that hindered the ability to provide quality education, although we had that in place. So then a lot of them went bang smack to the face. They became frustrated because they can't receive a service they paid to receive. Then, of course, part of this training and a solution to service delivery in terms of the academics and support staff is to make sure the interactive marketing happened. This is multifaceted. Of course, we had to provide the service in terms of presenting our classes online, having interactive sessions with our students, making sure They get all of the content necessary to be able to complete online assessments, but also to offer support in terms of how do you access this Zoom app? How do you access it from various platforms? Where can you go? Should you be able to? And so forth. This is just to illustrate how technological developments impacted our service delivery in terms of an institution, but also how it changed the future of providing education while we still offer face-to-face. Zoom and Microsoft Teams and other technological developments impact the way we design our educational curriculum, our service delivery, and then for other industries, again, this will have an impact in terms of their service triangle. So hopefully you understand the concept of how technology has an impact on service delivery and design. More specifically to the design aspect, how does technology impact that? Now, of course, you can think of multiple examples here, but let's focus this. Instead of strategic planning sessions face-to-face based on foundational things that have to occur, technology has forced businesses to make digital decisions. So they need to drive efficiency and effectiveness through making technologically and data-driven decisions. And of course, this has implications in terms of the customer interaction. As mentioned, there's no longer, or not that there's a barrier to face-to-face communication. Due to convenience, we can communicate, for example, with our students, or in your context, perhaps your clients, wherever they are in the world, not necessarily in the same town. So this has implications in terms of interaction. No longer do they need to book an appointment and drive all the way or travel to meet you in person. Of course, they can just do this through clicking on a link. But it also has an implication for back office administration to increase profitability. Of course, we can, as an institution, take on a lot more students rather, because we can offer there's a distance approach. While we have a distance modality where we have students that accept or receive their education and qualifications and with this distance modality, having the same experience as face-to-face students, on-campus students, we can offer the same experience but in a virtual way. So we can really bridge and expand our service offerings, and this is the influence technology has on the design of the service. Of course, a lot of planning needs to go into when you move into a digital or virtual method of delivery. Then, to further boil down as to the influence on service delivery and design, frontline interactions are impacted because no longer, as I mentioned, do you have to visit someone face-to-face in their office or at a specific location. This can happen remotely. And also through smart self-service and smart technology. I forgot the Y there, but smart technology really impacts the way frontline interactions occur. Again, a reminder, frontline interactions would be the employee interacting directly with the company. They don't need to necessarily phone in. They can use chatbot software or WhatsApp chat or an online platform to have a live conversation. A personal experience, my way. This is an insurance company based in South Africa. This is where I have my vehicle insurance. I do not have to phone a call center or visit an office. Not that I have a physical office, but I don't have to call the call center to update my address or update any policy details. I can simply visit the app and start a chat where a real person, not AI at this stage, a person interacts with you. But on WhatsApp, they have a predetermined responses based on certain prompts that you require. So on WhatsApp, I could just say update policy, and they have integrated some form of AI to know how to interpret the responses from myself, although limited. I could update my policy within 2 minutes. Instead of struggling to phone through a call center waiting, you get the drift. Authentication, though, this alters how services are delivered and received. The issue here is cybersecurity and privacy concerns, and fraud, of course. It's not something South Africa struggles with, but in terms of this, anyone then with access to my MyWay app, perhaps knowing my password, can change things without my knowledge. And this is where authentication becomes extremely valuable and necessary. A basic level of authentication is to enter a password before you can access the app, and this is something that the MyWay app allows for. And with mobile banking and online banking, seriously, you need authentication to ensure that the customer who is the owner of the accounts actually access that and not someone else. And you're going to have a search on not YouTube, but YouTube as well, on Google, as to the biometrics, the influence of that in terms of service delivery and service design. Because now, if you are planning to use an online portal, of course, you need a digital security system or solution in place. And many smartphones have the capability of fingerprint scanning and iris scanning and facial recognition. Then touch points, or a change in customer interaction points. It can either be online, so referring back to the MyWay example, I can enter or go into the app and I have a live conversation, not verbally, but through text on the app, through the chat portal, offline. Of course, if you go to the physical branch and talk to them, and a combination thereof, omni-channel. An example of this could be moving into the fourth IR, making a doctor's appointment through an app without any human interaction from the practice perspective. So you as the customer, you use self-service, you book an appointment and it shows on their side. But of course, to receive a doctor's medical advice or a screening, whatever the case may be, you need to visit them in the physical branch, or not the branch, but the practice. So your touch points there will be several implications for touch points due to the influence of technology. And then this is a broad overview of the brand touchpoint wheel, various examples of how touchpoints advanced since the influence of